FM. Radio has never been better.
What's up?
What's up? This is the movie show.
On
Active FM. I'm Sash, she's Ryan. And we're getting straight into the show because we have a lot to talk about. Quentin Tarantino. Yes, I repeat. Quentin Tarantino
you know the way you said
is
that. I saw the headline come up. Quentin Tarantino in yellow.
No, the
Quentin
spinning.
Tarantino.
You know the spinning newspaper?
Yeah.
It spins in and then...
Got it.
Quentin Tarantino
background.
is to release his first TV series
No
early 2023.
Flipping way.
No way. Yes way. Quentin Tarantino is coming
True.
again.
Fact.
I feel like this was because he was out here like, guys, I'm only making 10 films, which he's still stuck to, and he's made 9 so far, so
Yeah.
he's only got 1 left, and he's still saying he's not making more than 10, like he said it, but now he's like, you know what, just before my 10th film, I'll slip in a TV series. Season 1, TV series. Done.
Tricky. Naughty.
Quentin Tarantino is known for, No, but he's actually, so even though the last time we received a film from him, I think it was 2019, 2019, that's when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
feel
came
like
out.
it was 2019.
So even though that was the last time he released his film, it's not like he's been doing nothing. He's actually currently living in Israel. So what happened was he married an Israeli singer and then went to Israel, but he was supposed to live in Israel and then also go back to, where does he stay now? Somewhere in America. He mentioned the city, I just can't remember. But what ended up happening was when COVID hit, he was in Israel and then lockdowns happened and all of that, so he actually got stuck in Israel, so that's why he's been there. So he wasn't actually planning to stay in Israel, but due to COVID he stayed there. But he now has a son. His son's name is Leo, and he stated he did not name his son after Leonardo DiCaprio. They liked the name Leo, but they were like, if you want to say that we named our son after Leonardo DiCaprio, fine.
Was he there for his wife, or did he meet his wife there?
No, I think he met his wife, and then they decided they were going to, because I think she's from Israel, as far as I understand.
That's right.
So they were going to like share time, but then while they were in Israel, lockdown happened, and so that is what happened. But this series that Quentin Tarantino said he's going to make, apparently it's premiering in early 2023, which means they've been filming it. I suppose we never really know when they're filming stuff. And it says that the director says it will have 8 episodes. So it will be an 8-episode long series, but he's kept all further details under wraps and he's currently promoting his book, Cinema Speculation. So he's been out on a book tour, and I think that's when he announced that he's making an 8-part series. Yeah.
And that's where everybody's like, what? He's got a book? He's got more than one book,
He's got more than one book,
If you don't know, he's got many books. Like, literally go and Google his name, and then you'll see under the titles there, I think it's news, videos, images, and you'll see books. And when you click on books, you just see...
Yeah, no, he's got a lot of books. He really does have a lot of books. So his latest book is called Cinema Speculation. The previous book he wrote is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the novel. Right? I know you're like, what? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was a film. Yes, it was. So what happened was, back in the day, in the good old days when films were amazing. Nowadays films are...
They are still amazing.
They are still amazing, but
there's
you
just a
have
few of them.
Yeah. So
but they can't all be amazing. Because
No,
if
that's
they were
true.
all amazing, then they would all be...
Yeah. But like, I'm talking about back in the day when like you didn't have streaming services, you didn't even have satellite. Did you have satellite cable
I think
TV?
satellite and cable's been around for centuries. So
Okay, yeah, that's true. But like, it was very you had to mainly go to the cinema, or you went to like a video store and then hired a videotape and then watched the movie. But they used to have, I'm sure they still have them, but these racks of books, and then you'd have the anime rack, and you'd have like a whole lot of different racks, and then you'd have the film novels. They actually are like film novels. So basically,
wait, when
what
you
it
say
is,
racks, are we talking about books, or are we talking about the video store? Like
book at shops, you'd have like book racks. So you'd have like the anime rack, and then you could turn
Okay,
it,
got
and
you,
then
got you.
you'd have the film novel books, right? And Quentin Tarantino explained that what these novels So what they used to do was they would release the film, but at the same time they would release the novel, and it was often used as a like distribution or advertising technique. And he actually has said there's quite a few films where he's read the novel and hasn't actually watched the film yet. And he said in some cases the novels are actually better than the film. So one film he was explaining was, so the screenwriter they did the film and he wasn't happy with how the film turned out. So what he did was he then released the novel, and that was like the perfect like form of that story was in the novel. He said even sometimes when reading the novel, the main character in the film is not the main character in the novel. Yeah, so literally, often I think screenwriters would do it.
Like, are they just doing that to get us to get the book as well?
No, I think they would do it if like the film didn't suit their vision, like if it was a disappointment, because in most cases the screenwriter is not the filmmaker and they don't get to choose the actors, and unless they have rights. So that's what happened with the first Percy Jackson series. That's why it was such a big flop, because the author sold all of the rights, so he had no say over the project, and as a result it completely flopped. Now they're remaking the Percy Jackson, but the author has like full rights over the project. Yeah. So the screenwriters, what they would do is they would write the novel and then release the novel, and that was like the perfect version of that story. So then the interviewer still asked Quentin Tarantino, but you wrote the screenplay of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and you directed it, so are you saying that you are not happy with how you... So he said no, that wasn't the reason he made the novel. The reason he made the novel was because he had so much content and he couldn't obviously fit it into like a 2-hour film. So what he did was he took that and put it into the novel. So if you read the novel, you're not actually... It's not like you're just reading what you've watched. You actually are getting more... You're going more into like the screenwriter who is the world builder. You're going more into their vision, and because he said like filmmaking is about world building. Each film, there's a world that's been built. Maybe it's a realistic world, so you're setting it based on like current affairs, like realistic times. Other times you're on another planet. Other times you're in a different century. Do you understand? So every single film that you watch, a world has been created, and the filmmakers they have more material than what you see on screen, because in order to get their vision across, they've had to think of all those things. So what Quentin said was a lot of that went into the novel Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then also he wanted to so when he decided, you know what, I want to create one of these novels, because like he said that specific film, I can't remember the film now, but the screenwriter said he actually wrote the novel for that one person that would get the story that where it wasn't made like that in the film. And Quentin Tarantino literally said he was that one person. Like when he heard that screenwriter say that, he was like, I am that one person. So I think he did it for because Quentin Tarantino is a lover of film. He really, really is a lover of film. So I think he did it for that, and he actually was going to do it with Reservoir Dogs. He thought of doing it with Reservoir Dogs, but then he decided to switch it to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah. I personally would be very interested in reading his, especially the cinema speculation.
So what is it almost like you can have alternative stories around the same sort of, like outcomes or characters playing different parts? So in other words, you got different versions of the story. Are those novels long? Do you think those novels are long?
No, I don't think they're long. Well, his novel, it didn't look long. The book looked, I don't know what the text was inside or the font size, but the book was about that big.
The one thing you said now was that if they have to cut to cut the film down, then they can give sort of like the full story within the novel. So that means those novels probably not like Lord of the Rings.
No. But I mean,
but maybe it's...
Do you know how much content was left out of Lord of the Rings? As in, I'm talking chapters. So I watched Lord of the Rings and then I read the books. And I was like, at one point, I was actually like, this wasn't in the movies. Like, literally, because it's so much easier, obviously, to write a book. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you can fit a lot in a book. That's why it's very difficult to adapt a book to a film. And you have to leave stuff out. So I think they also release it so that you can go and... Yeah.
I'm actually extremely interested to see how the book is actually written, because obviously now I'm sure if you read a script, it's probably you got narrator narrates and then the line and then this character says this. If you've ever looked at the format of a script where this is probably told within a storyline,
Yeah.
right? And then she walked over, found the bench empty that once filled her heart with such warmth, and sitting down there thinking to herself, and you could probably sit there and be like, oh yeah, I remember this part. But it's more, so, I mean, that's what a novel is, isn't it?
Yeah.
A novel is told in like narration type of format.
Yeah, it's
I
not
think that
script
must,
format.
I think that must be so cool. I would totally try one of these, you know.
And unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
that's something we don't, like, I was like, wow, that's so cool. They used to release the books of the movie. Now they don't do that anymore. Now it's just like, yeah,
The movie.
the movie, there you go. And the series, yeah. So, going back to the TV series. So, Quentin Tarantino, we said this is his first TV series. His TV experience, though, it's not the first time he's been involved in a TV series.
Yeah.
However, his experience is limited. So it includes, he's directed an episode of ER in 1995, and he directed 2 episodes of CSI. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
That
In
was the one where all the
2005.
blood kept coming
I
out.
want to go
and
find those episodes. I'm going to go find those 2 episodes of CSI that
I'm
Quentin
pretty
Tarantino.
sure if you Google it, you'll find
You'll
it
be able
quite
to find
quickly.
it.
Yeah.
And then he also portrayed a character in Alias that was between 2002 and 2004. So he actually acted in a series. And then he also revealed that he had written a play before completing his 29 film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So obviously that's why he was able to go into it. But then also over the years, the director helmed episodes of From Dusk Till Dawn, the series, CSI and ER, while also playing a character. So that's his TV experience, but he's never actually directed an entire limited series for TV. So this is the first project. He has had like experience in, so like The Hateful Eight, he worked with, because Netflix is going to, I think that's going to be released on Netflix. And he's worked with Netflix before for The Hateful Eight. I don't know if you remember when we did that show, we actually mentioned that it's no longer on Netflix, but they split The Hateful Eight up into 4 episodes. So you could watch The Hateful Eight on Netflix, but not as the film. You'd watch it as a 4-episode series. So he has worked with Netflix before, and now he's going to go and make an 8-episodic series.
I'm pretty sure, because even if he was directing CSI or whatever, ER, that's not much of his influence. He's probably reading the script and saying, okay, this is how they want you to, you know, just help the characters to sort of, I mean, they're already in character. And the character is based on the previous director or the producer, whoever did that.
Yeah.
Where now, with him doing an actual series, means that it's 100% his influence.
Yes.
The character
From
that
start
he
to
created,
finish,
the way that character sees life.
And we know Quentin Tarantino, if he directs something, most of the things he directs, he wrote. In fact, all of the movies he directed, he wrote. And I mean, he said he'd worked on the story before, so this will be a Quentin Tarantino. And if you're thinking, but what if this is his 10th film? He has stated that his 10th film will not be something that will be released on streaming sites, because he's a big lover of cinema. And so his 10th film will be something that goes to cinema. So this isn't his 10th film. It's not like, oh, his 10th film was a series. He's making the series, and then he'll still make his 10th film. In 2020, he mentioned that he wanted to cap off his film career with a mic drop movie with ideas including Kill Bill 3. But I feel like they mustn't do that, because she killed Bill.
Yeah.
Like, there's no long, Bill's dead. You know, like, why would you make Kill Bill 3 when Bill is gone?
Back.
Yeah. Or a straight spaghetti western. But I feel like he's sort of done that as well with Django. Or a horror film. Now that, I must be honest, I feel like, because Quentin Tarantino has stated he's a big fan of horror movies, but he's never made one. Do you understand what I'm saying? Not that I don't think I want him to make a horror film, but I feel like he could go that route, because it's his last.
Horror
his last
movies
one.
are.
Yeah. So that's what he possibly has, but he hasn't said anything. Yeah. And then this is a direct quote from Quentin Tarantino. He said, "I don't believe you should stay on stage until people are begging you to get off." So he said, I like the idea of leaving them wanting a bit more. I do think directing is a young man's game, and I like the idea of an umbilical cord connection from my first to my last movie. So he's definitely not going to continue after his 10th film. He also said, I'm not trying to ridicule anyone who thinks differently, but I want to go out while I'm still hard. I like that I will leave a 10-film filmography, and so I've got, this was when he still had 2 more films, he said, so I've got 2 more to go after this. Yeah. So that is what. But now, just to end off, right? So Quentin Tarantino actually has got a lot of abandoned projects.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So originally, Star Trek. Tarantino was attached to Star Trek in December 2017, but then, yeah, it was pitched to. He apparently pitched a great idea to J.J. Abrams, but then that fell through.
It probably would have been Star Wars and some slasher type of.
Yeah, which would be very interesting to see because, like, he hasn't ever done anything like Star Trek before.
He's never done anything futuristic.
Yeah, no, he hasn't. Yeah,
it's always the something far out west kind of film.
Very very in the film industry, like often his films somehow have the film industry involved in. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Also, Kill Bill Volume 3. So he wanted to do a Kill Bill Volume 3, but then he didn't. Yeah. And also, I don't think Uma Thurman maybe wanted to go ahead with it because she was a big part in the whole idea of Kill Bill. Then this one we did mention, so Double V Vega. So that was a film between Vic and Vincent Vega, who were the Vega brothers from Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Yeah. So it was John Travolta's character and Michael, what was his name? Madsen. But then they both, the two actors got too old and so they didn't. This is interesting. Casino Royale. That's James Bond.
Yeah.
So he was almost going to be involved in a James Bond. I'm like, oh man, imagine a James Bond Quentin Tarantino for... Yeah. That.
But then he would have had to write the whole script and...
that's the thing.
To be a complete, like real Tarantino touch.
Quentin Tarantino touch up. This one, I don't know how I feel about it. So he was going to do The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Now, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. was actually directed by Guy Ritchie. And I think Guy Ritchie did a brilliant job with it.
Yeah.
And I like Guy Ritchie's films as well. Like, for me, Guy Ritchie and Quentin Tarantino are very different in style, but they're so good. Like, I love both of their films. So I'm glad that Guy Ritchie did it. And I don't know if... do you understand what I'm saying?
I think it would have still been good, but it would be a different...
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about it, you could have changed the director for Man from U.N.C.L.E. and you would have had a whole lot of different...
That's the thing.
...touches and versions of it.
So if they both made it, I feel like it would have been two very different films. Henry Cavill was still in The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a good film. It was a very good film.
And he had his American voice in there. Right? You did, hey?
Wasn't he British?
Did he? I can't remember.
I should go watch it again. Yeah. And then the last one is Killer Crow. So in 2012, Tarantino was planning on his next film being the third movie in the Django trilogy called Killer Crow. It would be a World War II movie centered on an African-American soldier. Yeah. And then this African-American soldier was out for revenge. They'd kill a bunch of white soldiers and white officers on a military base just outside of Switzerland. But then
I feel like that's got the Hateful Eight touch to it.
And I think he instead of making that, he went on to make the Hateful Eight. Yeah. I'm interested to see what his 10th film is going to be.
It's got to be completely different.
And I feel like it has to be the best. Like, he did a very good job with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I think that's quite a hard choice for him to make because...
it's your last one.
I mean, I'm sure you sit there and you're like...
What do I make?
Is this good enough? I don't know if this is good enough. Okay, let's improve on... No, I don't know. It's not good enough. Wait, okay, that's too much. Is it too much? Is it too... No, is it too little? I don't know. Is this going to work, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's... Unless he's just like, he's got it. He's like, no, this is it. Maybe he's got the script already.
He's probably got the script because like... And he's probably got the story because knowing him, he like... Which script did he work 10 years on? There was a script he worked he worked on this script for 10 whole years of his life. One script. It's hectic, man. Wasn't it Kill Bill? That's why he split it into two.
I don't know.
I can't remember. But I must be interested. I'm very interested to find out who has been casted into his series. Like, is it because he normally works with the same actors.
That's right.
He'll have Samuel L. Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt. Like, there's the same group of actors. So I'm interested to see who he's picked. And I mean, a lot of those actors aren't normally in series. So will be quite interesting to.
I would love it if Leonardo DiCaprio
was in it.
there.
Yeah. So as soon as we have more news available, we
Yeah.
will be sharing that. But currently, all we know is it's 8 episodes. But that'll be something nice to look forward to in 2023, if it comes out in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hopefully on Netflix, I think.
I think it is Netflix. I think because he's worked
Yeah.
with Netflix before, and Netflix. I mean, Netflix is doing the most with series at the moment. Like they're
And movies.
yeah,
Very well.
yeah.
Yeah, look, he's 59 now. He's born in 1963. So,
Yeah. There we go. So if you want to read one of Quentin Tarantino's books, they are on the internet. Go find them. Yeah. So this has been the movie show.
on your favorite ORSPS.
Peace.
See you guys next week.